I'd like to call to order the the Village of Beverly Hills Planning Commission meeting for Wednesday, March 25th, 2026. Lydia, we call roll, please.
Of course. Chair Westerland.
Here.
Vice Chair Dillard Rousseau.
Here.
Secretary Copeland. Mr. Campbell.
Here.
Ms. Erickson. Ms. Harper. Mr. Lucas.
Here.
Mr. Ross. And Mr. Trust.
Here.
Wonderful. We have a quorum.
Okay, fantastic. We have a quorum. However, we have a couple members who are absent, so I look to for a motion to excuse Charlie, Andy, and Ashley as they provided notice prior to the meeting.
Mr. Chair, I move to excuse those commissioners.
Second.
Second by Jeff. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. I'm sorry. All right, next item on the agenda is the approval of the agenda. So everybody had a chance to look at the agenda? And if so, I look for a motion to approve.
Move to approve the agenda.
Second.
Second, fantastic. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Then we have approval of the minutes for the February 25th, 2026 Planning Commission meeting. Hopefully I had a chance to take a look at those. If you see any comments or items that need to be adjusted, please let me know. Otherwise, I look for a motion to approve.
Mr. Chair, I move to approve the minutes from the meeting.
And a second?
I'll second.
Second from Jared. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed? Motion carries. All right, item number 5, public comments on items not on the published agenda. If there's anybody here from the public wishing to be heard, please come to the podium. Seeing we have none, we'll move right along. Old business, special land use and site plan approval for Detroit Country Day School. Susie, I think you've provided us a memo, but if you'd like to give us a little bit of a brief overview of it, that'd be great.
Yeah, sure. So, good evening. Hi. We're going to go for our meeting record today, by the way. We're going to try and keep this under 15, so I'll be quick. Anyways, so this is really like an administrative cleanup item. Our motion from last month to recommend approval of the site plan and special land use for Detroit Country Day should have been a motion to approve the site plan, since Planning Commission is the approving body for those items and a recommending body for the special land use. So we will need to rescind the motion. Someone who was here and voted in favor of the motion last month will need to make a motion to rescind that, and then we will have to make new separate motions, one to approve the special, or the site plan, and then we will make a separate motion to recommend approval of the special land use to Village Council.
Do we do it in that order, or should we do the recommendation first as a matter?
You can rescind first, right?
Yeah, no,
rescind
but
first,
I'm jumping ahead.
I don't think it necessarily
Okay.
matters.
Right.
Yeah.
Can you vote if you weren't here to rescind, or do you have to abstain from that vote?
You know, the village attorney didn't give me that guidance, so I'm going to say
Oh, go ahead.
vote because you're here tonight.
I was just double checking.
I think you can vote. I think the
Can't
only
be the motion-
procedural matter is
motion
the
maker.
motion has
That
to
was
be
me.
made by
Second.
someone.
Yeah. Yeah, okay, just wanted to clarify. Thank
If I screw that one up, then we'll redo it again next
I
month.
doubt it.
Just keep doing it again.
I do want to say, though, before we can rescind now. I do want to chat more about the signs, though, before we make the motion for the site plan. So I don't know if you want me to talk about that now, or if you want to rescind first and then we talk.
Let's rescind, because then it's a matter of it's open again.
Okay.
How about if we do that?
Sounds good.
I'm looking to my colleagues for a motion.
Mr. Chair, I would move to rescind the motion that I actually made to recommend approval of the site plan and recommend approval of the special land use.
All right, I have a motion to rescind the action from last month for Detroit Country Day. Do I have a second?
Second.
All right, this can be all in favor vote, or is it going to be roll call?
You know, let's do roll
Roll call
call.
just
Be
in case.
safe.
Okay, Lydia, we call for the roll call vote, please.
Sure. Mr. Trust?
Yes.
Mr. Lucas?
Yes.
Ms. Erickson,
Yes.
Ms. Dillard-Rousseau,
Yes.
and Mr. Westerland.
Yes.
Okay, all in favor?
Did you miss one, though?
Who did I miss? I'm sorry, Mr. Campbell.
Yes.
Thank you.
I haven't been here, it's forgivable.
So sorry.
Yes.
Okay,
All right.
since that motion has been rescinded, let's kind of take a look at it as it's reopened up before we make our motions, the next motions. So-
Yes, so carrying on with this memo is, I did have an opportunity, Brian and I spoke after the meeting about the logos, the banners, the sculpture, also spoke with the village attorney, right, to make sure that, because I was going to need some help with however that was going to go to ZBA, right? And so taking another, very critical look at the sign ordinance standards, the banners that they've talked about, remember, those were going to be highlighting their students, right? Like, congratulations to our senior athletes, or whatever it is, right? Those are detailed as an exempt sign type within the sign ordinance standards. And they're public-private school achievement banners, right? So as exempt signage, I mean, they don't even need to come to us for that particular element. And so they don't even need a permit for that, quite frankly. And what they've talked about, I know there's the 18 square foot requirement for those to be exempt. I mean, those are 8 square feet apiece, right? So village attorney was comfortable with that. So as far as I'm concerned, we're moving on from that, right? The school logos that they've got placed on their columns, as well as the sculpture, I think I mentioned this at the meeting last month, is, yes, they technically meet the definition of the sign, but there's no standards for them, right? I mean, it is very much a branding and, creating that unique sense of place. And so this is one of those things that I really talked through with the village attorney, and looking at, again, the purpose and intent clause. And I mentioned this last month, is the vast majority of the standards are geared towards business and commercial uses, the public realm. How do people get around? How are they finding our location, our businesses in different locations? That is not these signs, right? These are truly meant to create character for their community. It is branding, it is wayfinding, it is 100% enclosed and not visual from any part of the right-of-way. And so I don't think that they need to be regulated, right? And this is, they are, it's an institutional use, right? And so they're very similar to some of the other, there's other smaller kind of signage within the exempt signs that I think they're more akin to. But even that said, there is a provision within those sign ordinance standards that says that any sign that is not explicitly defined is under the purview of the Planning Commission. So whether I think their signs are not, or shouldn't be regulated or not held to the same regulation standards, it is the Planning Commission's responsibility to take action on those and not send that on to the Zoning Board of Appeals. Similarly, for the scoreboard, which will be before you in April, right, we still need to do that review. That same provision applies, right? It's not, yes, scoreboards are defined, and they're actually exempt, but their proposed sign doesn't meet those standards. So then they're still subject to Planning Commission approval, right? We're still working on how exactly you're gonna review that and against what standards you're gonna review, but that will also fall under, it's an undefined sign, right? So it's still under Planning Commission. just kind of setting aside the scoreboard information for the next meeting, just kind of keeping that in your mind. I think that there should be a separate motion, a fourth motion, if you will, right? To approve the signs under that section 46, 425 sub B, which discusses undefined signs. And I think it would behoove this commission to allow those signs, those logos and that sculpture to be installed as they've presented them.
Thank you.
Yep.
I guess, I know I'm the one that talked about the signs, and what my thought process was, the banner signs and the image that they presented was a welcome sign. And it wasn't, so I was looking at it as differently than a student achievement sign.
Okay.
And that's the way I kind of, the approach I was taking at that when I was looking at these, because they really weren't temporary signs, and temporary signs were a little smaller, over 6 square feet. And that's what my first thought was, it could be allowed as a temporary sign, then they can change it regularly and wouldn't matter. So that was my perspective on this. And I think I even mentioned it at the meeting last month, is that I think that what they've done is it's an enhancement, and it presents some cohesiveness to the campus, and it was all good. I really liked it, and it was just a matter of making sure we have clarity on what type of sign it is. And if it is a student achievement sign, I know if they're not submitting and how, it's part of their athletic campus, and it doesn't present that look to the outside the public realm. So that, I guess it's just where my head was last month when we were looking at this. I was particularly thinking about those banners. The logo, standalone logo is a sculptural piece. Again, if it doesn't impact the right-of-way, I guess I could be okay with that.
Yeah, so I know I wasn't here for the last 2 meetings. Brian, I just want to make sure you confirm you agree with the contents of the memo.
Yes, absolutely.
Okay.
I did have, not only Kristen and Susie spoke, which was the most important conversation, and then Susie and I spoke, and then I did circle back with Kristen as well, and I apologize. Kristen is the
Village attorney, yep.
So all three of us had individual conversations, all coming to the same conclusion, and basically walked away from each of those discussions on the same page, so.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think
And I would say that this is a place where you could use discretion from a placemaking standpoint as well. For example, just, it's in an enclosed area, it's not within a structure, but just, our sign ordinance doesn't define sign as an outdoor sign, right? So we could be regulating what goes on, but we don't, what goes on in Market Fresh, right? And we don't do that. And I would just because this is open air, I think it would enhance, this would be the institutional flow of the site versus an indoor business climate. But I think this is a correct interpretation, and we have the ability to use some discretion in this matter.
Since Jeff and Robin, you were here last month, any additional, do you want to, thoughts that you had on this, since that was our, part of your motion, actually, to have ZBA look at it. So I'd like to hear any thoughts or comments or additional.
Well, through the chair, having the breakdown now as it's outlined makes it more clear for me. To be quite honest with you, I wasn't at the first meeting when they first presented it. I was only at the second meeting when we were discussing recommending to the ZBA.
Sure.
So in terms of looking at it now through the lens of the statute, I better understand, I guess, what the concern was. And so just for clarity, the packet that they presented, the column signs are welcome signs. They have a standalone logo sign, and then they have the student athlete signs. So there are 3 different types of signs, or 3 different things, I should say.
I'm going to go in reverse order. They have a logo sculpture, right? And it's it's big, right? Like and you've seen similar kind of sculptures like this all over the place, right? And there are little Instagram moments like, oh, here's the love sign, yay, right? So they've got that big sculptural element. Then they've got their logos, probably 2 square feet. There's probably 24 of them, that they would just go on the pillars, the lighting pillars. You'd see something like this on any college campus, any, like the hospital campus, that kind of like, yep, you're here. You're here on our site. The banners, I do recall that, one of their depictions was welcome. I mean, I think they did present, I think it was in their first presentation, that they would also be highlighting student athletes, right? I mean, I think we can include that element, right? Like, if you're gonna have banners, wonderful, make sure they're highlighting your students. Or, school achievements, right? It could top private school in Southeast Michigan, right? Like, that would also fall in line with that, right? And those are the undefined signs that they're looking to install. They're not proposing any, and the scoreboard, but we'll get to the scoreboard next month. But they're not proposing any other signage out at the intersection. They've already got their monument sign out there. These are the only new ones for this particular project.
Yeah, so just so everyone's aware that the sculptural sign is 12 feet tall, and that the logos on the columns are 2 foot by 2 foot. And the other sign that we talked about was along the fencing. So they were proposing, and it's not in our packet, but it was in the imagery that they shared, during the meeting, was they were showing Detroit Country Day banner across the fencing, but that was on the north side of the field looking inward towards the stands.
So again, not
So
visible.
it's not visible
public, right.
to the public realm. That was what they were showing. Yeah, because I don't have an image here of that.
I guess based on, I was in the last meeting, right, based on this, it makes more sense now, right, what the guidance is, so I don't have a huge thing, but I guess it's not quite documented public right away, that's just an interpretation, right? Like, that's not in the current sign ordinance, is it? Like, if a sign is not in the public right away, or is?
Go back, you've got your sign
Yeah,
stuff.
which one do you want?
Yeah.
I think
In
it's
the public, the purpose.
It's-
I guess the thought is we have other private schools, right, in the community, so, are we approving it because, or is the idea, generally, hey, it's out of the right of way, it's enhancing everything, it's obviously, making the property look better, but you might have a private school where you can see it from somewhere, so how do we determine that, right?
I think in large part, and I don't want to step on
Nope, go
Susie's
for it.
toes, but I do think that that's sort of the rationale that you would put forth here based on the request, the sign package that we've seen, quote unquote, it's not really a sign package, but the signs that we've seen and identified that are not defined, therefore not really regulated, therefore subject to planning commission review and approval. I think the reality is this would be a different conversation if they were trying to do something that was more advertising related or visible from off-site. I think if the commission's so inclined, part of your rationale would be exactly what these signs are intended for, and it's more decoration, it's more, maybe it's wayfinding, whatever we're trying to call it, but, and they are not visible from off property. So I think that's part of what you would use as your basis. So that if we are approached with this again, and it's a different scenario, you've left yourselves the leeway to reject something that you don't feel meets the intent of the sign ordinance.
So hence the idea to have an extra motion versus just approve the
Yes.
site
Yes.
plans. Okay.
Right.
Yep, okay, then makes sense.
I have another question. So as a part of the review of the ordinance, then moving forward, is there going to be now a focus on interior signage and wayfinding just to make it very clear, or is the intent to leave it sort of?
No, I think we should probably
Okay.
clean that up, right? I mean, really make sure, Brian Brian and I try and do this whenever we're putting forth new amendments, but search our keywords, make sure that things we're talking about are actually defined, or, and things that we have standards for, make sure they're also defined, right? So I anticipate that being part of the cleanup.
So we can start with the action regarding the site plan or the special land use first, and then capture, well, however we want to move on the sign aspect. I think there was some sample motions at the bottom of the memo.
And we can even use for the site plan, I mean, we can use what Robin did at the last meeting as a base, just obviously, approving the site plan dated December 25th. December 25th, that wasn't the 15th. It should have been the 15th. Clearly, I was thinking about,
I move to approve the site plan submitted by the applicant of the date of December 15th, 2025.
yes.
But we had a number of,
With their conditions.
we have the conditions on there as part of that motion. That's what I think we want to make sure.
That was ensuring all references to the proposed scoreboard are removed,
Well, okay.
and final engineering and required agency reviews for Area 2.
So friendly amendment to my own motion. I'd move to,
Do you want to read this?
yes, please, thank you. My laptop having died. I'd move to recommend, or approve the site plan dated December 15th, 2025 for the athletic complex improvements at Detroit Country Day School, ensuring all references to the proposed scoreboard are removed, and
Engineering.
and final engineering is approved by the village engineer.
Okay, we have a motion to approve the site plan. Do I have a second?
Second.
Roll call, please, Lydia.
Okay. Mr. Trust?
Yes.
Mr. Lucas?
Yes.
Miss Erickson?
Yes.
Mr. Campbell?
Yes.
Vice Chair Dillard Rousseau?
Yes.
And Chair Westerland?
Yes. Okay, motion passes. Now we have the special land use recommendation to village council.
Mr. Chair, I move to recommend approval of the special land use to Village Council
For the Detroit Country Days.
for the Detroit Country Day School.
All right, do I have a second?
Second.
All right, Lydia?
Okay. Mr. Lucas?
Yes.
Mr. Trust?
Yes.
Miss Erickson?
Yes.
Mr. Campbell?
Yes.
Vice Chair Dillard Rousseau?
Yes.
And Chair Westerland?
Yes. All right, now we're on, now, if we need to have any further discussion on the sign, we could, but otherwise, we would be open for a motion. And this would be discussing the signage, kind of clarifying that it's the sign, the logos and the banners that were represented on the site plan are exempt from the sign ordinance. That's what we'd be,
No, we,
Banners are exempt. The logos and the sculpture are
not exempt?
not defined under section 46-425 sub B.
And Mr. Chair, I might add, I don't remember if the petition, I wish they were here, unfortunately, for them. I don't remember if they specifically indicated they were definitively going forward with the text on the inside of the fence line.
They were wishy-washy on it, I know,
Yeah.
but,
So
because I brought that
because
up.
what I was going to add was, the commission could add that as sort of the third element to this, or we could just deal with the logos and the sculpture, and if they want the text on the inside of the fence line, and we could address it at a later date. I think it, again, personally, I think the way it's located, the way it's situated, the way the property lays out, I think it's similar to those other signs. So if the commission was inclined to grant it in a similar manner, in that it meets the intent and purpose of the sign ordinance and is not visible from off-site, you could include that. And then if they want to pursue it, they can. If they don't, they don't have to. Or we can punt on that for tonight and make them come back with it.
Oh, we're going to see them.
We are going
We're
to
going to see them about the scoreboard. So, I mean, we can have a more maybe detailed discussion on that at that time, too.
Yeah.
So maybe, and to Brian's point, is that as we think about the motion for this, we should likely be specific to the elements that we're talking about. That the banners are exempt as student achievement, and then the sculpture and the logos are fall under the section 46-425.
Yep, sub B, yep.
Sub point B,
Yes.
as a type.
Oh, I'm not making a motion. Tired.
Yes, I understand.
Was it bad?
Okay. So I will make a motion, subject to a verbal amendment as cued by Ms. So I am, no, sub B.
Well, yeah, it's sub B, but.
Yeah, stop scrolling.
I was going to get to the exempt one.
Okay. Now I've entirely lost my train of thought. Okay, so I will make a motion to recommend to the village council, correct?
Approve.
No, approve.
Recommend to approve.
Recommend.
Or no, actually.
No, we're just approving.
Just approve,
Just
sorry.
approve.
Consistent with your memo.
Yes.
Recommending to approve.
No.
We're not recommending, we're
You're not
approving.
recommending, you're just approving.
Moving to
We
approve.
just approve.
Good, guys. What, if there's some peanuts in the gallery here,
We are.
we'll defer. I'm approving the site plan as submitted. Absent. No, okay, then just take over.
Yeah, I'll do it. So I'll do my best. Motion to approve, or motion to recognize the banners as exempt under the condition that they recognize student achievement. And motion to recognize the logos and sculpture and banner as undefined signs under the Beverly Hills sign ordinance, and approve those signs, recognize those as undefined signs under Beverly Hills sign ordinance, and approve those signs for they meet the intent of and purpose of the Beverly Hills sign ordinance under section 46.
46-1, or 46-425 sub B.
Dash 425,
Sub B.
subsection B.
All right, so we have a motion to recognize the band, and just to make sure we're all clear. Motion to recognize that the banners are exempt, and that the logos on the columns and the sculptural piece are not defined under 46-425 sub B. So they are not explicitly defined as signs. I
Yep.
have a second of that.
I will second that.
Fantastic. Lydia?
Okay. Chair Westerland,
Yes.
Vice Chair Dillard Rousseau,
Yes.
Mr. Campbell,
Yes.
Ms. Erickson,
Yes.
Mr. Lucas,
Yes.
and Mr. Trust.
Yes.
Okay.
Well done.
Good job, guys.
Is there a fourth one? I thought you said it was,
That was it. That was the fourth.
oh, we did 4 already?
Yeah.
Because the motion rescinded.
Oh,
Oh, no, this was 1. Okay.
Do you want to go back? We can do more?
No, I'm sorry.
Awesome, good job.
All right. So that takes us to item 7, new business.
Nope.
Seeing none. Number 8, public comments. Since we don't have public here, we'll move along.
Mr. O'Gorman?
Number 9, liaison comments. Okay, hearing that we have no comments from our liaison, we'll move on to staff comments.
I have one. Robin, Jeff, and Charlie, your seats are expiring. So you will receive something in the mail. You will receive a brand-new application in the mail. Please return your application. You are not free to go. Please. Carissa sent those out on Monday, so you'll receive a little letter with some information. But consider this the official announcement that there might be vacancies, and you are all required to reapply. Thank you.
Understood. Happy to come back.
Oh, yes, also, we did get, I guess I have 2 announcements. We did get 7 proposals for the master plan and zoning ordinance rewrite, so
Nice.
super excited about that. In the midst of review, right, I know, in the midst of reviewing them right now, and gonna have to narrow it down to 3 at least to do some possible interviews or, really collectively see how we feel about it. It's quite the range that we got, but really happy with that.
What are the organizations?
Oh, we've got Beckett and Rader, Giffords Webster, McKenna, OHM, Hauser Levine, and then I'll say Orion because I'm pretty sure it's Orion. Orion Planning, they're out of state. And then who was the other one?
So is that,
Spalding to Decker. I'm like, I don't want to
Spalding.
forget, right? Like, so we had those.
so I was going to ask if any of them were out of state, so the one is out of state?
Yeah, Hauser Levine actually is also out of state. They're Chicago-based.
Oh, okay.
I believe they're the same group that is doing Birmingham's zoning ordinance rewrite. So,
Any timeline?
I would honestly like to get this in front of council at their first meeting in April. So
Is
I
that
have some
including
major.
interviews?
Yeah,
You're going to have interviews before then?
that's the plan. I might not make it to my goal, but I'm going to give it the good old college try. I would imagine we would start, any kickoff would be probably beginning of May.
Anything else?
That's it.
Hey, rolling on to commissioners' comments. Elizabeth, start at your end.
No comments.
Jeff?
No comments.
Robin?
No comments.
Jeff?
Nope.
Jared?
Nothing to add, thank you.
Okay, I have nothing to add, I think. So we'll move on to going correspondence. Nothing?
Nothing,
Nothing.
nothing.
All right. Seeing we have nothing else left on the agenda but an adjournment, I look for a motion to adjourn.
Mr. Chair, I move to adjourn at
Second.
7:34.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Meeting adjourned.